So I guess maybe 3/4 of the way through this video, I am changing my thesis. So here. Earlier this week, I caught the last half of Forrest Gump on TV. And that is a movie that obviously I grew up with it. It's very well made. It's also very weird. I don't know if it could be made today, but that is beside the point. Rewatching it reminded me of something a term I had coined a while ago, called the Forrest Gumpification of literature, or the Forrest Gump effect. I don't know. I haven't copyrighted it yet or anything. And obviously, I might not be the only person to have come up with something like this. But let me tell you how I think about it. Forrest Gumpification occurs in a novel where the story spans a long period of time, like decades, and through that we see major cultural, political, historical moments through the eyes of an individual or a small group of people. And essentially, it's not really about the history. It's about their lives, but the historical and cultural moments play a big effect. And I think when I say Forrest Gumpification for these things, it happens almost to the point of farce, where you are no longer reading because you want to know what's going on with the characters. You're reading because, oh, I can't wait to see how they handle, Watergate, or, that the next historical event is coming and that it's going to be on the page. The book that first helped me identify this trope is The Irresistible Henry House by Lisa Grunwald. I read it not too long after it came out, in 2010, 2011. I remember I was homesick in my old apartment. I was working at daycare at the time, and I would get sick often. And I had heard about the book and got it from the library, and I read it in one day. Now, can I say that this book is the pinnacle of amazing 21st century literature? No. Is it very readable? Absolutely. And the plot of The Irresistible Henry House is it's a lot, actually. It's actually based on a true story, or a thing that actually happened in history, where at colleges, the home ec department, I don't even know what they call those now, but it was domestic stuff. They would use actual real orphaned babies to teach child rearing in the first half of the 21st century. Within this novel, one of those babies is Henry House, and typically these babies would eventually be adopted before they're of age of 2. Henry is so beloved by the head teacher of this program that she adopts him as her own, but he grows up still being surrounded by all these college girls, and he basically gets conditioned into being first the ideal baby, then the ideal child, and he becomes irresistible to women. And once he is an adult, he becomes irresistible to them sexually. And yeah, so a lot of the book is just this dude banging women, across countries, across time. And that is sort of, the heart of the story is we're seeing these massive historical changes of the mid 20th century through the eyes of this very romantically irresistible man. And it's got a lot of the baby boomer, cultural tropes. And I think this is very much where it feels similar to Forrest Gump, where, there's the anti-war protest. He meets Walt Disney. He meets the Beatles. We see just all this boomer nonsense. Whatever boomer nonsense you can imagine, it is in this book. And like I said, it's very readable, but I don't know if it's readable, I don't know if I was turning the page because I wanted to see what was going to happen to Henry House next, or because I was like, I bet he's going to do acid. What's he going to be like on acid? Or, you know, I wonder how he's going to react to the assassination of JFK or something like that, you know? And this is a thing I've seen in other novels as well. And it's not always a bad thing. A book that I recently reviewed on my channel, Kim Jeong, born 1982, sort of does this with significant cultural and political moments in Korean history told through the eyes of a millennial woman. And it's really, the way that is done is those are essential to her story as a woman. And so I think it's done like very well with that. And then there's other books that I think do it very similar to how it's done in Irresistible Henry House. They just do it better, frankly. So one book that I think does it pretty well, that I know, you know, if you are into books, you know what book I'm going to talk about, and you've probably already read it. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Like I said, it's an immensely popular book. You've probably already read it. I don't even know if I need to describe it. But it basically starts with two kids that meet and become friends in the 1980s. And it follows the story of their friendship for like 30 years. They're Gen Xers. They are obsessed with video games. And that becomes like a major like connection and life component to their story. And Tomorrow definitely, you know, makes historical and cultural moments prominent in the story. You know, they talk about characters' reactions to 9/11 and changing thoughts on gay marriage. But at its heart, the book is about the friendship of the characters. And, you know, when I'm thinking about it, I think maybe that's where Henry House goes astray, is because his character and the nature of his character is that he is unable to have like long-lasting connections with people. And so he's untethered going through these major moments, and therefore the moments, you know, sort of become the lead. He lacks a little bit of agency with that. You know, so I guess maybe 3/4 of the way through this video, I am changing my thesis. So maybe Irresistible Henry House is actually brilliant because of this Forrest Gumpification of it. We'll see. I'm gonna keep on thinking about it. For Tomorrow, the heart of the story is the relationships. And so they, as characters, and we as readers, we have something that is grounding us so that we're not just waiting for the next thing, you know, where we're just like, oh, I wonder if they're going to talk about like this album or this TV show, or, you know, are they going to talk about, you know, Clinton and Lewinsky? Like, you know, we have more to hold on to. So I think that book does it pretty well. And it's interesting because I think, you know, if I give the guidelines of it's about a, you know, individual or a small group of people over a long period of time, a lot of books can fall into that. Two of my favorite books, you know, Pachinko and 100 Years of Solitude, could definitely fall into that. And while cultural and historical moments, even, you know, not real life ones, but like within the context of those stories, happens, they're important to the story, but they're not like essential. I'm not waiting for those moments. And I think, you know, those stories could be set 30 years before or 30 years after, and we're still going to care about the characters. We're still going to care about the story and their relationships. And it's not our knowledge of the timeline that is keeping us turning the page. So yeah, I'm still developing this trope, if a trope needs to be developed at all. I'd love to know if you agree or disagree. Or are there books that you've read that fall into this? Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, all that, and have a good day.